Let's
Hello,
start.
my fellow Russians. Welcome to West Valley City, Utah, Station 71. I'm going to give you the tour of the station and show you how we do things here.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't get interrupted. So come on in. It's like an episode of Cribs. Bienvenido. Well, here's our fire station. This is where the public would come in to the fire station. It's pretty small here because we don't really have people coming in. Here's our offices. We have our captain doing captain's work in here, making sure we're all trained. And this is where we do some of the training on the office work and things like that. We have a public restroom here for guests to come in. And from here we have five guys at any given time that live here for 48 hours. And so we'll come in on a shift at 7 in the morning, and then we'll stay for 48 hours, and then we'll leave 7 in the morning the next day. The new crew tries to show up between 6:30, 6:45 to relieve us, and then we go on to the next duty. But each one of us have our own bedroom. We have 6 bedrooms, just in case we need somebody else to come in. Here's our restroom, the men's restroom. We have a couple of showers. So turn that on. Here's our showers, and then just a typical restroom. This is your typical bedroom. This is my bedroom. You have your TV, your bed, your personal items. We can decorate our locker however we want. And this is where I stay for 48 hours. And so in here, we have a women's restroom. There's no women here today, but they have their own restroom, the shower, and then we have our gym workout, so we can work out here while we're on duty. And this is our laundry room. We have another fridge, supplies, laundry that we could do our laundry while we live here. And then we have our place where we spend a lot of our time. Here is our kitchen. We always have something cooking. We make our own meals. We go shopping on the first day. We buy 2 dinners and 2 breakfasts. And then for lunch, we kind of do whatever. If we're out and about, we'll go buy lunch. But we cook. We take turns cooking for each other. Here's our day room. When we don't have calls, we can relax, watch sports, watch Netflix and chill. And this is where we spend a little bit of our time. Hopefully more than, if we're not busy, we get to hang out. Today's a Sunday, so it's a nice slow day. It's my favorite day to work because it's nice and chill. And that's pretty much all the inside. We'll go out here to the bay and we'll show you the rigs. Oh, hey! So this is Tyson. This is good timing. Right now it's Sunday, so it's a day that we like to clean up the rigs. This is one of our gurneys that we use. It's actually really nice because it helps with our back. We used to have to be able to lift and push it in, and now they make it really easy on us. When we're loading patients, this has a capacity of what? 1,000 pounds?
Some 7, 8.
So we lift really heavy people sometimes, and it used to hurt our backs when we had to lift it up here. But now we have this, and we just push a button. I can do it with one hand now. And it's easy on my back. No problem. That's a good thing for us. This box, they special make them. This is just a Ford F450, and we buy the chassis, and then they put the box that they make for us on. This box is one of the newer boxes. Inside you have all the equipment you need for whatever situation. We have all type of bandages, meds, narcotics. We have all that on here. A lot of the time when we're working, we work them on scene, and then once we get them in the back, then we're able to work them here. We have benches on both sides, crash cart. Typically one to three guys will be back here working on the patient. I'm going to show you this out here. I'll show you another fun little toy that we really like. This is our hardest worker on the fire department. He never fails us. This is what we use for CPR now. When we go on a full arrest where we have to do compressions with people, when we arrive, we'll check their pressure, see if they have a heart rate. We'll start CPR while another guy is getting this ready. And what we'll do is we'll bring this out, put this underneath the patient. You can see they have pictures for firefighters because we're dumb. And it shows us how to do everything. So he puts this underneath the patient. This we take out. Put it over the patient's chest, click it in, and it's on the patient's chest right here. We'll turn it on and set that to the depth of where the person's chest is. This has a suction cup, so it sucks to their chest, and then when it's time for compressions, this does the work for us. So no more of this. This does the work for us. The patient's arms, since they're always in the way, we'll put that up here. And so the patient's hands will be like this, out of the way. And then we'll hook them up to the monitor. We'll put the EKG patches on them. Sometimes we'll get an airway. I'll show you some of that equipment here. I'll show you our bags that we use. So when we arrive on the scene, we have a couple of things. We have our monitor. Here's our EKG monitor. And that has fast patches. This is where we also can shock them. We can charge, shock, EKGs. Instead of the pads that do this, it's just two stickers that go on the patient. And then we can charge the patient if they're in a VTAC or a shockable rhythm, and then we can shock. Typically we shock, but it's not on right now. So we have that hooked up to the patient. This is all our medical equipment, and so typically we'll just grab this, throw it on our backs, grab this. This is for our airway. This is for trauma or OB deliveries, baby deliveries, things like that. And so we have a couple of different things. I'll show you a couple of things that we have in this bag. So for our full arrest, we'll set this on the floor on the couch. Open this up. And we like to make it really nice and easy. And here we have the IV if we need to gain access. So typically on a full arrest, instead of starting an IV, we'll start an IO. And so we'll get the IV package out. And this has everything you need in it to start an IV. It's got IV fluids, catheters, everything you need to start IVs. On full arrest, what we usually use is an IO. It's very fast, simple. Most of the time we will do it right here on the leg. It's a very easy point. You can feel the bone. And what we do is we'll get our drill out, just like a regular Home Depot drill. And these are the IOs. So they have a needle on it. We'll hook it onto here, find the location, and then we put it on here and drill it into the bone. What that does is, there's the catheter, and then once we have that drilled, this will go up against the skin. We pull this goes in a sharp container, and that'll be the IV access for where we'll be pushing the drugs. Typically we'll use, on full arrest, the main drug that we use is epinephrine. And let me just put this away real quick, sorry. So for the drugs, we have the one that's labeled medicine. So we pull this out. This has all our medicine, anything that we need for a full arrest. We open that up. They come pre-packaged with the correct doses. So for an epinephrine, we'll come in, pop those out. This is 1 dose. And that port that you saw on the end of the IO, we'll have an IV hooked up with a bag, and then we just push 1 dose of epi, and that'll be 1 to 10,000, so that'll be 1 dose. And every 3 minutes, we'll give one of these, typically on most full arrests. This is probably our mainline drug for most full arrests. And we've got everything you need in here. We've got lidocaine, atropine. This is for overdoses. That can be pushed to this as single dose package as well. And all of these are single doses, so we don't have to worry about the dose most of the time unless they're children. These are all adult doses. And so whatever drug that we're using for a full arrest, whatever their rhythm is, this is where we can access that and gain access. And the whole time that we're doing this is still going. So CPR is never interrupted. It's a lot better form of CPR than somebody for 2 minutes getting tired. This is going the whole time, and so it gives you time to set up the full arrest. And I'll put this away in a minute. So there's our crash kits, what we use, and then we can take them to the hospital like that and transport. Our transports are usually 3 to 5 minutes. They're very quick. We have plenty of hospitals within 3 to 5 minutes. And so this is our ambulance. I'll show you another fun little toy that we have. For airways, these are the ones we use for the airways. This is a camera, so we can see when we're getting a tube, rather than seeing the vocal cords and things like that. We can get this, and this is the whole instrument that we put on. We attach that, and that's how we can see where we're putting the tube. So we put that in, push the tube in, and it's a really simple way to see the vocal cords and make sure that we have our tube in the airway, make sure the placement's right. And this makes it very easy. One hand, and we push the tube through this down inside the vocal cords, and that makes it very easy to see inside the patient, just like it is in the hospital. So this is another little tool that we have that make it very simple for us. Or we have something even easier. We have these fun toys. These make it very simple. This is another airway device that we use. We lube it and we just put it right down the airway, and this closes off the airway. Looks like a female body appendage. But that seals up the airway fine. This seals it up, and that way you don't need the camera. You push this in and you have access there. You also have access to suction. You can suction anything out here, and this is a very, very easy toy. I say toy, but very easy tool to make the airways very, very simple and easy. They're just little tools that make our job easier. So this is our airway kit, our drug kit, our Lucas for CPR, all things that we bring in a full rest. So we can typically use, the hospitals used to take this off, but now they're realizing that this is easier than a nurse that weighs 100 pounds trying to do CPR. They leave this on until they can either have a blood pressure, and then they can start CPR on them. We'll remove that at the hospital and go on from there.
My name is Ryan. I've worked with West Valley Fire now for about 10 years. I'm here at Station 71. This is our fire engine. It's a Rosenbauer. It's, I don't know, maybe three years old possibly. It's our frontline engine. So we run about 7 to 10 calls a day out of here, out of this station, one of our solar stations. I'm just going to walk you through this engine and kind of show you what we have and how it works. So basically, this is where the driver sits, the engineer. This is where he has his controls for the pump and all the lights and sirens. He's the one that runs all that. He's just got some other compartments. This is where the engineer keeps his turnout gear. So if we have a fire, he throws on his turnouts, and he can come help with that. And then back here is where the two firefighters sit. We just have one here today. But we've got our air packs built into the seats. So if we need to, we just throw on an air pack. We've got our headsets. So when we're driving down the road, everything's through comms, so we can hear and talk to each other because of the sirens. Keep like all of our turnout gear in here. We've got to keep our helmets up here. We got our turnouts right here, so we can just jump in and get dressed as we're cruising down the road to a fire. It's the quickest and simplest way to do it. We've got just some some hand lights and radios and stuff up here. Not a ton of stuff. And then here's our first compartment right here. This compartment has all of our hoses in it. So this is the first cross lay. This is 150 feet of 1 3/4 hose, and this is 200 feet of 1 3/4 hose. Those are the ones we typically use the most on a house fire. Like a room and contents fire, if we're just going through the front door, we'll typically just take the 150 feet because our setback on our houses are typically about 30 to 40 feet from the curb. So this will give us typically over 100 feet to get in. So that's typically what we use. Or if it's a larger setback and we've got to go around the back of the house, we'll take in the 200. Those are pre-connected, so when the engineer sends water, he just pulls the lever back here. I'll show you on the pump panel. That sends water to him, and off we go. This is our. This is where we keep our foam. We just got a water can right there. Take it in. It's just a fire extinguisher, but with just water, just to put out hot spots and whatnot. This is where we keep our it's called a Pro Pack. We keep foam in that, so after a house or a car fire and it's still smoldering and it's hot, we'll go in and just soak the whole thing with foam, and that helps just cool it down and get rid of all the hot spots. Then the second compartment is just some more tools. We've got this is our hydrant pack, our high-rise pack to go to like a high-rise building. Cones when we stop. Just just basic hand tools. We got hammers, 2 different kinds of hammers. We have flares, cones, you know, just random stuff like that. Got our cooler with our waters and our Gatorades. Quick sword, so in a car crash, if someone's leaking antifreeze or oil, throw that on the ground to absorb that so it doesn't go down the storm drains. These are our quick connects to the pump. So on like a fire, we'll just pull up and use that. It's our shorty to run from the back of the engine where the intake is. That'll go to the hydrant. So that's about all that's in there. And then same thing, we've got some tarps to move people and things. This is the engineer's pack right here. So if we're going on a house fire, like I said, the firefighters and the captain have theirs in their seats. The engineer comes, grab his, throws his on, and off we go.
These are brand new.
Yeah.
Each one of these this is a small thermal imaging camera. And so if we're in really black, smoked out conditions, we could turn this on and be able to see thermal imaging on each pack now.
Yeah.
Whereas before we only had one.
Yeah, it's pretty
All
sweet.
of us have one.
Now we all have our own individual one. These packs are much lighter and much nicer than what we've had for the last 10 years. This is the pump panel. This is like the brains of the engine right here. This is where the engineer gets his water, sends his water. We've got all these different nozzles right here for different applications, different hoses, different pressures. Well, those two I showed you up front, that 150 and 200 foot cross lay, they're labeled right here. To that compartment right there that I showed you. So they're like, oh, I want 150. There it is right there. That's this lever right here. You come in, you pull it, or if you're like, oh, I want you to send me water to the deck gun up on the top. Oh, deck gun, boom, there it is. You just send water. This is where you dial in all your pressures and your volumes. Make sure you're sending the right amount of water to the right application. This right here is the hydrant bag. So when we first get to a fire, typically the guy in the back, one of the guys in the back will run up and grab this bag, take it to the fire hydrant. It's called the steamer valve. That goes on the fire hydrant, and that's what hooks. You hook your hose right here, our 5-inch hose hooks to that, and that's what comes from the fire hydrant to send us the water to the engine. And then we've got our hydrant wrench and all of our other valves to bleed and open it. These are just 2.5-inch full port valves. So we've got our spanner wrenches, got a full assortment of different nozzles and reducers and Ys and things like that. So that's just one of our daily checks that we do every morning to make sure everything is ready to go. And then on the back of the engine, we've got this little brush nozzle. Works really good. It's just on a roll up there. I think it's 150 feet. We use that for putting out hot spots on fires, little brush fires that we can reach. This is the intake. So this is where the fire hydrant's pumping to. So we took it from the fire hydrant. That pressure comes into here, and then at this point the pump takes the pressure, and then he can adjust it to whatever it is. Typically, we'll have around 100 psi coming in from the street, from the hydrant, and then the engineer at that point can take it. This is a discharge, so it'll come in from the hydrant, come in, and then this one can take it back out if we wanted to send it to like another engine on like a relay pumping. That's our supply line, our 5-inch supply line that hooks on right here to the intake. We've got, I believe, 800 feet of that stacked in there. And then right over there we have another 300 feet of 3-inch supply, and then 200 feet of 2.5-inch attack hose. So we've got that. That's the back of it. And then over here is where the majority of our tools are kept. We've got our chainsaw, so if we need to do any venting up on a roof or cut through a door or whatever, use that however we see fit. We've got a portable generator, so if we need some lighting or to charge batteries or do anything like that on a call. This is just the fuel and extra chains and oils for the chainsaw. We have a battery powered fan, which is pretty nice. It's not big and heavy like the old gas powered ones. It just runs off two 18-volt DeWalt batteries, and you can see we have a bunch of extra batteries to charge and to keep that. And then all of our hand tools are DeWalt. So we've got our Sawzall, which we use for extrication. Use it for many different things. We've got lights for scene lighting. We've got a drill right here in case we need to use something like that. So that's kind of what's in this compartment, is more tool-wise. And then here on the engine, this is a BLS engine, so we don't carry any ALS drugs. So this is just our medical gear right here. We don't have a ton of it. We have a monitor, that exact same monitor that we have on the ambulance. It's just an extra one, so if the engine gets called out on something and someone by chance wants their blood pressure checked or a pulse ox, we can do that with this monitor right here. And we carry some oxygen on here as well. We carry C-collars, and then we carry some basic BLS bandaging, some blood glucose stuff, just basic stuff as far as that goes, as far as the medical on this. And then we carry extra bottles, extra air bottles. We have 4 of them on these side compartments on the rig. If it's full, which it holds 4,500 PSI, so if it's full, it goes in this way. If it's empty and you know it needs to be filled, put it in this way. It's just kind of the universal standard on full or empty, and if it needs to be filled. These are more hand tools, just basic shovels, sledgehammers, bolt cutters, axes, pry bars. We use those for anything. We can use those to, bust through windows, get into houses. We'll use the Halligan and the axe for forcible entry into homes or into cars, popping hoods on cars, on car fires. And then this compartment is the exact same compartment as the first compartment I showed you. It goes all the way through, so that 200 feet pre-connect is right here and that 150 is right here. So you can grab it from either side and it'll deploy either way. So depending on what side of the road you pull up, if the house fire's on this side, you're going to come to this side and pull it. If it's on that side, you're going to go to that side and pull it. So it's really nice that it works that way. You have another Pro Pack with the foam, same thing as before. We do have a fire extinguisher on this side. A couple more tools up in here. Yeah, that's about it. Same thing here. Turnout, sit right there. Set up your packs. There's the tick that Jason had described, the thermal imager on everybody's pack. But yeah, pretty basic setup. The ladders, can't show you because it won't come down, but there's a button on the back to deploy the ladders. The ladders are up on the roof, and you push a button and the ladders come down to, about this height, so you can just pull the ladders right off and work off of those. Then up here in the captain's seat, he's got control of the radio, so he's the one that's calling dispatch and telling them we're en route. He's got the computer that tells us our call details on what we're going on, what the address is. He's the one that maps us to get us into the calls to make sure we arrive. He's the one that's communicating with dispatch or PD, seeing if the scene's safe for fire to arrive. Yeah, that's about it for our engine. It's a pretty good engine. We haven't had any problems with it. Filthy right now, so we just cleaned it yesterday. We haven't got around to it today, but
is our Type 6 or our aux. It's gone through a transformation lately. They put a lift on it, some big 40-inch tires, just so we can do some clearance. What we do with this is more of a grass fire, Wildland firefighter truck, so we can go off-road. It's a 4x4. It's got a big heavy-duty winch on the front, and we've also got tanks and toolboxes on the back for anything you need for Wildland. We use this vehicle to go on deployments to California, Texas, New Mexico, anywhere there's forest fires. They contract us, the federal government will contract us to take this. And typically 3 guys go on the crew and take this out to different states, and this will be what they use. Around here, we just use it for small grass fires, some urban interface where we have, typically around here it's just grass fires, so it's pretty quick and easy. I'll take you around here to the front. They've outfitted this with a big bumper, recovery winches, and this is a drive-along fire suppression that we have a joystick up front that we can drive and pump and put out fires that way. And that is controlled by, we'll come up around here. That's controlled by the joystick, and that's where you can control that front part from. The rest of the pump is on the back. These are all sorts of different wildland tools that we use, flares, other things like that. Block cutters for going through gates, whatever you need. And we have a 300-gallon tank on board, so it doesn't use a lot of, the water runs out really quick if we're using that front piece. So typically we'll use like a small hose that's on the back just for grass fires and things like that. But that pump pumps the water out of the back. We have spare tires, extra things, extra tools like this. But this is more for off-road, out away from the cities and things like that. So it's been a good piece. And this actually makes us money when we send it to other places. So last piece of equipment we have is our four-wheeler with our plow, snow. We just do this for removing snow from around here. And then we haven't showed you some of these areas, but in here we have the washer. This is for our turnout gear, for our turnouts like this. If we go on fires, we'll put them in here, and that's the dryer to dry the turnouts. It's a big dryer that we put that in, dry out the turnouts. They do this for more of a cancer deterrent because once we're on fires, there's so much plastic in the fires now that they're cancer causing, and so they want us to wash it after every incident, after every fire. The turnout lockers are in here. This is where the crews, we have 3 shifts at the station. We have an A shift, B shift, C shift. And we'll have 5 guys at a time, so there's 15 guys stationed at this station. And so when they're not here, this is where they leave their turnouts. All the fire helmets. These are the new ones that they're issued, and these are the old school leather ones. Pretty cool. Look at our names on the back. Western. And so we usually use yellow or brown for firefighters. The black helmet means they're the engineers, they drive the engine. And then the red is for the captains. And the white is battalion chief. But there's no battalion chiefs in here. And that's pretty much the tour of Station 71. Cool.
Hi, my name is Brian Densley, captain of West Valley Fire Department. I've been a firefighter at West Valley for 28 years, and I've been a captain for about 13 years at that time now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of West Valley quickly. We'll go into what it takes to become a firefighter, and a little bit about the department. So West Valley's been a city for about 44 years now, so we're relatively new. During West Valley, we run fire calls and medical calls. About 75 to 80% of the calls that we go on are medical calls, and the remaining are all our fire calls, hazmat calls, and tech rescue calls. We run paramedics, EMT advanced, and EMT basics out of here. I know back east, the firefighting and EMS are separated, and usually Midwest and West, we're all combined, so we have to do both. To get to be a firefighter in West Valley, or almost anywhere around the Utah area, you have to have a minimum high school degree, diploma. You have to be a EMT basic, EMT advanced, or paramedic. The further along your medical training, the easier it is to get hired and go from there. So typically, after you get your application in, if you're lucky enough to get picked up and get hired, then you go through about a 3-month long training process, recruit academy, where they teach you all the fire skills that are necessary. So when you come onto the floor, you're going to be ready to go. They also do a short couple weeks medical training in there. They typically will do more medical training after you get on the floor with the guys. They just want to make sure everybody's all trained up medically. They'll do a week of hazmat training, a little bit of tech rescue training in that. And along with that, in West Valley, you have a lot of options if you work here. Like I repeat back, the EMT stuff, the paramedic things you can do. We also have hazardous materials technicians, and once you get to that technician level, you get paid extra for that. The same thing with the rope rescue program. You get paid extra for that. You get paid extra to be a paramedic. So that's good. The ranks that we have here are your firefighter rank, your senior firefighter rank, engineers. They call them critical care paramedics, which is also another thing that West Valley does that's unique. That's somebody that has more training than just your typical paramedics, so they call them critical cares. They do interfacility transports, so they make a lot of money for the department, hence they get paid. After the engineer and critical care paramedics, you have your captains, you have battalion chiefs, deputy chiefs, and our chief. And we have about 100 firefighters, and what do we got? We have 6 stations, so we have 2 deputy chiefs, training battalion chief, and medical training chief. So that's a little bit about West Valley. What we do, we run 12,000 calls a year on average with the 6 stations, so we are a very busy department, but it's a lot of fun.
And what's the usually like in general? What for your opinion?
It depends on what station you're at. The east side of our city, the demographics there are a little bit poor people. It's kind of a poor term to use, but that's where we have a lot more apartment complexes. We have homeless shelters. So typically they run on average around 8 to 15 calls a day. Our busiest station is right in the middle of our city. Same thing, 10, 12, 15 calls a day. We are at a slower station out here on the west side of our city, and we typically run anywhere from 5 to 10 calls per day, most of those being medical calls.
No, last question. Like, what your opinion? How government care about the firefighters?
We personally have a good working relationship with our city politicians, so it's a little bit different throughout the state. I'm sure it's very different throughout the country on how that works, but we don't have like a collective bargaining process or anything like that. We just have to, like, for pay purposes and any insurance purposes, things like that, we have to just kind of negotiate with our local city politicians, city manager, and our fire chief. So, but overall, they treat us pretty well. We work 10 days a month. We work 48 hours on and 96 hours off. So 2 days straight, 4 days off. And we continue that indefinitely.
Give them